here we go. Wait, hold on. I just got an Instagram notification real quickly, and then I'm ready. Okay. Hello, Jess.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you?
I am good. What is today? Tuesday? Woohoo, it's not Monday.
Made it through Monday.
Yes.
So tonight we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County. Epic season happening. Even on Epi 2, it's like we're in it.
Stop trying to make Epi happen.
It's happening. We're going to talk about Real Housewives of Dubai and then Below Deck Med. Yep. So Real Housewives of Orange County, we're still at Heather's party as the starting point. I mean, I forgot. We haven't even made it through a fourth of this party at Heather's thing.
Again, there's too many activities to do.
There's too many. It's like too much of a thing, but they haven't even sat down and had dinner yet. So when they finally did that, I was like, oh, we haven't even seen the dinner.
Yeah.
There's this much drama and no
wonder these women get so drunk. Like, how long was that cocktail hour, basically, right, with no food, and they're all just standing around guzzling drinks?
Right. Okay. And so Gina and Katie are sitting at this dinner, and I wish there was just like a mic on them the entire time. Do you remember Gina saying to Katie, like, why is there no like bread?
Yes.
And Katie's trying to get her bearings and like trying to like look at like what's going on.
Gina looked like she was going to burst in tears. She was like, why is the food so tiny?
I don't get why everything is not bread.
Yeah. And I had to remind myself, she's sober. She has not.
Oh, she is?
So like, I do think if the alcohol's not, the fun part for you, the socializing, she has been enduring the standing around, the convos,
yes,
watching the drama with Shannon and Alexis through the window, and then she's finally like, all right, lunch or dinner or whatever it is, and it's like, here's your little spoon. She's like, this is what I waited for.
Totally. And then you know who I think is kind of drunk is Emily, because she's yelling across the table to like Jen, I think it was, to say like, you need a house. She's just like the hype man of like the old rap music videos, but she's like yelling out things to like Jen, which I'm kind of loving Emily, because I'm like, we're all thinking it.
Right. Yeah. And there was like a very awkward, I don't know what the editing was doing, if Shannon truly was sitting there, and they were kind of like talking to Alexis about her sex life with him. And I was like, okay, this is so inappropriate to just be talking about at this luncheon with all these ladies, but two, that his very recent ex-girlfriend is nearby, potentially hearing her like bragging about how many times. And I was like, this is so ew. Like, Alexis, you do not look good doing this. It's very clear you're trying to rub it in Shannon's face.
I agree. And so Shannon kind of gets up from the table and Tamara follows her, which is like so irritating. It's like, Tamara, what were you thinking? What were you going to do? Because you didn't come at that with like empathy. You just didn't say, hey, are you okay?
She got up to pick a fight with her.
I mean, it was just, and then she kind of goes up to her and says, why are we not friends? She like uses that moment to kind of talk through like what happened with her and Shannon.
Right.
It was so awkward, because it felt like Tamara got up to say, are you okay? Then for it to go so left.
Well, did you see, gosh, whose podcast was it? Vicky was just a guest on someone's podcast. I'm trying to think if it was Kelly Dodds or someone in the Bravo world. And they were talking about the new season and the premiere and all that. And Vicky made the comment, like, things changed when Tamra joined. And she said, I was authentically living my life and the cameras were there. And she goes, when Tamra joined, dramatic things started happening that just weren't real.
Interesting.
So I really thought that when Tamra went after Shannon, she was going, this is all going to be about Shannon and Alexis.
Right.
I must insert myself and make this about Shannon and my friendship falling apart.
She truly has not gotten any real airtime until that moment.
No.
Until she did that and the cameras followed her. Wait, is Vicky having a problem with Tamra?
Oh, yeah. Well, ever since the Tres Amigas broke up, it's Shannon and Vicky stayed friends. Tamra's the loner.
The one. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Vicky and Tamra switch on each other so fast. It's like, oh, we're best friends. Oh, we're enemies. Oh, we're best friends. Oh, we're enemies.
And saying the most atrocious things to one another, too. I'm like, how do you come back from that?
No, I don't know.
The whole Brooke situation, the stuff Tamra, like, screamed at Vicky during all of that. And then they were friends. It's like, oh, okay.
So Shannon comes back from the bathroom with Tamara, and did you see, like, she turns to her makeup artist and her makeup...
And gets the lips touched up. I was like, yep, confirmed, makeup artist.
That was the makeup artist. I feel like the makeup artist is probably looking at Shannon's look and is like, I'm not going to let this go downhill when I'm sitting right next to you. So Shannon's like talking to her and it's like they're rubbing on the lips.
Yeah.
It wasn't even, she wasn't even letting her finish. I felt like it
Yeah.
was like she was rubbing it on at the table.
Too funny. She wanted to show her work live.
Yeah, she wanted to make sure the work didn't like change.
Yeah. Heather making everyone do corny things, going into that thing and catch a question and
To me, that's like corny stuff for TV that I'm like, edit this out. I don't want to see this.
I know. You, like we've said before, use the games or whatever. Like I think we talked about on The Valley when they were doing the weird charade night. Sure, use it if you need filler, but I felt like there was enough drama.
Yeah.
We didn't need the corny game stuff.
Well, Heather Dubrow clearly views herself as like the one that brings everyone together. You know, you always need that in your cast. Like that was the big problem with Vanderpump. It's like, who was going to be the one on last season that got Tom Sandoval in the same room as everyone else?
Right.
And it was Tom Schwartz. He did a horrible job at that, but he tried.
Yep.
I think Heather thinks of herself as that.
Okay.
She's also got that moolah, which I'm not clear if they pay, who pays for what at those events.
Right.
So I think she has the money to be able to say, I'm going to put on an event and I'm going to invite everyone.
Yeah.
She's like, she gives them the environment. You know what I
Right.
mean? Kind of get done with this party and we go to Katie, Shannon, and Jen on the steps.
Yeah.
Which is such an odd couple because I don't remember Jen being friends with Shannon.
No, I don't either.
Before.
But I think Shannon is floundering a little
Yeah.
just on her own. And they were like, we got to get Katie in there.
Shannon does that, though. I do feel like when she feels like she's at odds with a couple of people, she tries to go over and, like, collect the others in her pocket to make sure she
totally
like...
is doing that with Gina and Emily.
Yes. Trying to make sure she still has, like, friendship there.
She needs allies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I get it. Like, you can only have so many enemies in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it just gets exhausting. You're like, okay, let me make nice with some people here.
That's true. But yeah, I wrote down I couldn't stand. I was like, the eye roll when Katie, I don't work out. I can't be the only woman here who doesn't like working out. I'm like, oh, shut
You think she
up.
does?
I just hate when it's such a humble brag.
Yeah.
When this like skinny
super
woman
thin,
likes to let everyone know she doesn't like to work out.
Right. Yeah.
Like I can say it, but I'm not bragging. It's pretty clear I don't like to work out. Like I don't mean it like, look how thin I am and I don't even work out. So I rolled my eyes with Katie, but I like her so far. I'll let that one slide.
Right.
But
I
can we
do
talk
think-
about her family? Katie's rundown of her children?
There's a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions with that.
Yes, and I actually took a photo. She posted something on Instagram because clearly she was getting a lot of feedback where she said, in case you were confused, newbie Katie cleared up the misunderstanding about her
please,
kids.
let's go through it.
I'll go through it. She said, let's clear up some things. With my first husband, we had Kaylee, I'm sorry if I butcher all these names, Kylie, whatever, who's 20. That was the girl we saw that was going on a date or whatever. Gavin, 18, and Max, 14. With my current husband, we have one, Brandon, who's 7. So so Callie, Gavin, and Brandon are with us full time, but Max, the 14-year-old, chose to live in Atlanta with his dad full time, but comes to California for school breaks. Gavin, the 18-year-old, stayed in our San Diego home to finish the school year. Our 28-year-old niece moved in. He was back and forth between Newport Beach and San Diego. Matt also worked from the San Diego home office to be with Gavin. So this is telling me is she truly relocated from San Diego to be on the show.
Oh.
That her 18-year-old basically stayed back to probably finish his senior year of high school. And remember, they just said Gina got them the house in the OC.
Oh, right.
I don't like when they recruit women. Remember, there's all that stuff in New York.
With Jessel.
Yeah. What did you call
Jazzle.
Jazzle.
With Jazz.
Right? They were all kind of accusing her of moving
Yeah.
to New York right before filming started. I'm like, I don't like that, producers.
Yeah.
We truly need, I don't care that you think they're a great casting. They need to truly live there.
Okay, but Jessica, like, we know that this woman came on the show due to Sutton. We know it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get on the show if not from recommendations?
Yeah.
And then if you were getting casted on the show and you were going to move up to Brookfield, Wisconsin, I would do that. I'd be like, yeah, let's move up to Brookfield,
Lauren,
Wisconsin.
never once did I say I wouldn't do it. I'm just getting annoyed that it seems to be happening a little bit more often. I love when it's like you truly are like, these women have lived in this town of where the show is based for years. Like, I love when it is a very natural, someone has been in the friend group and you've sort of spotted them at, kind of like Janet on The Valley. Janet truly has been in the mix in LA, West Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Janet did not come from a farm in Iowa. And
but
get
all
cast
those cities
in
California, like, I get them all confused of how far away they are and like how big of a deal it was.
That's
like,
true.
If you're just moving from here to Lake Forest, you know what I mean? Like, it's not Jessel who
like I think came from Texas or something.
Moved states, like, you know, good Lord.
Okay. True. Just wanted
I'm happy you cleared up the Katie's.
Yeah, because I was losing track as well with like how many children.
And it totally rings true with your theory that the 18-year-old was left to finish the school year. You would not allow that, I think, in normal terms, because he's 18 and he's living in the house by himself. Right. But she does seem like kind of in the she seems like she actually knew people. Yeah. Because she's going to have that moment with Sutton where Sutton's like, I would not go against Heather.
Yeah, so that's a true
She's in the fold.
connection.
It's not like when Heather Dubrow says, I've known Alexis Bellino for years, and it's like, no, you haven't.
They've like driven past each other on a boat in the harbor and they wave.
Right.
Yeah. Did you catch what Katie said how her and her husband met?
On the Golf Channel?
Yeah, riddle me how they're really rich. She said they were both traveling journalists.
Are they rich?
I don't know. I guess we were assuming
that
she's
house
friends with
didn't
Sutton.
Rich.
We thought because of the Sutton connection, she was going to be loaded.
You know who seems rich due to his house is Ryan.
Yeah, but
that house is huge.
We know why, Ryan. All that illegal gambling and betting. I can't wait for that to all. I can't wait till Jen's little doe-eyed face trying to explain why Ryan is indicted for something.
It's Jen Shaw. It's giving Jen Shaw.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just hoping there's a sprinter ban when they get arrested.
Yes.
They're going to a ski resort. And in the Beauty Lab parking lot, Ryan gets arrested.
They just so happen to be in Salt Lake
it's
City.
FBI, too. I mean, it's a big deal.
It's huge.
Which I've looked up numerous times, Jessica, how he's involved in that, and it still doesn't make sense to me. It's not like in a way that's like, I generally get what happened, but I don't really get what happened. Like, I don't understand how he was making the money he was making in the way that he was involved. I mean, can you even try and explain it? I can't.
No, I'll just wait for Jen to tell me. I can't wait for her to explain it.
Okay, so they're walking the steps. I thought the most pointed thing was she doesn't know what he does for work.
Right. This is total foreshadowing to his arrest, because it's like, really big house, seems to have all this money.
The house is huge.
Yeah.
In OC.
And allegedly he doesn't work and he's doing mortgage stuff.
He used to do that. She doesn't even know what he does now.
I know. Sounds a little like Judice. Mortgage fraud.
Yeah.
When I heard he was in the mortgage biz, I went, uh-oh.
So, and then we're like touching along the way, Gina and Emily are having this weird conversation kind of off of the Katie, Shannon, Jen on the steps convo. And they're talking about how Gina found out that Jen got evicted on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which that story is a little bit flip-floppy because she said, I found out that Jen got evicted on Instagram. But then she said I was on the emails with the real, that's
I noticed that discrepancy in her explanation. And all that Jen showed, at least the only part that the producers cut to, was her going, moving sucks.
Right.
She wasn't saying I was evicted and being evicted sucks.
And I also think Gina is like really relying heavily on like, well, then I texted that other real estate agent and that agent didn't come through for me. And that was going to be $50,000 that like Jen took out of my kid's mouth. It's like, Gina, that agent could have not texted you back because you're a novice newbie and she didn't feel like giving you the leads.
Exactly. I know. I was like, she's just pinning that on Jen to try to make it more like, you're ruining my reputation.
When you have the thread that ties back to your young kids, like, oh, you've taken money out of whenever the housewives get about like my family, then it's like, oh, come on.
Here
like,
we go. Yeah.
It's like, it probably was not that.
Right.
I wish that real estate agent would like clear that up because I think Gina's getting on her highest horse this weekend, this week season.
She really was.
Okay, so they kind of cut to the dinner back at Heather Dubrow's dinner, and Gina's kind of going at it with Alexis, saying how rude John was to her.
Yeah.
Which I'm shocked they didn't show that. I'm sure the editors are just like, enough with this John. Like
They're sick of him as you are.
Right. Like either we get him under contract or we're going to cut him out.
And yes, I wrote Gina hating on John, didn't know there was so much animosity
right.
there. She
I didn't
was
even.
Really,
I feel like the editors have purposely tried to keep him like off camera.
Yeah.
And Gina just probably had all this issue with him that we didn't even see.
We didn't even know. Yeah. Oh my God. And then we did get, again, just going back to the eviction, but like there was the sweet moment with Jen and her parents who came in. But
yeah,
I just was like, if I'm a 46-year-old and my parents are co-signing leases for me, like, so help me God.
So I think that dad, because he was a co-signer, had to basically bail her out of all of her back payments.
Yep.
Which I feel like that would be probably an OC that you're dealing with a $7,000 to $10,000 a month mortgage. Maybe it was 6 months of it. So yeah,
she was on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy asked about that, and she goes, "Yes, my father paid."
Oh my gosh.
Because Andy's like, "So he was your co-signer. Did he have to fork that over?" And she's like, "Yeah, he did." So clearly, she comes from money that.
It's interesting with Jen because there's this whole kind of undercurrent of plot where people are like, she has to work.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't know exactly her situation, but it does seem like Tamara said to Eddie, she's been 4 years divorced and she hasn't gotten a job yet. So she was living off that alimony.
Yeah.
And then
alimony dried up.
Yeah, and she's the yoga teacher, but she's only making $50 a class, which we know that because she admitted to that. Yeah. So I do kind of agree. Like, you should be working.
It's making a lot more sense from last season why she's staying with Ryan.
Right.
I think he's supporting her a lot more than we realized.
Right.
Because in my head, I get it. You're in love and all these things, but like, she was so head in the sand with him and all the red flags. And it was like, no, I'm staying with him. And I was like, I think he was paying for a lot.
He was supporting her.
Yeah.
That's good. That's it. Second hot take. Good, Jessica. You're connecting all these dots.
I'm connecting the dots.
So when she moves in with Ryan's house, though, they're not engaged at that point.
No.
So that's
Proposal's
like
coming later this season.
That is crazy to me to move in with all your kids. And the kids are like, can we please just stay in a spot that we can like live in for real?
It's sad.
Oh my God. And then he's probably going to go to jail.
Anytime I think my life is stressful, I just think of some of these housewives and I'm like, okay, if they're like surviving, I'm good. They have a lot of court cases going on. I can handle my 9-to-5 job.
Okay, so now we go coffee. That was pretty epic. Now, I feel like there's
an amazing line in it that I wrote down, and it was so unlike her. When Gina was really going in, which I think is so unfair. I understand the frustration when someone is not paying for important things and like defaulting on whatever, but then they're paying for glam. You know, I get that. That is you look at it and go, that's stupid. Like, spend your money better. And she was going in on Jen for having full glam. And Jen was like, just because my life is falling apart doesn't mean my hair has to fall apart like yours did to Gina.
And she looked rough. That flashback of Gina.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, just because my life is falling apart, my hair doesn't have to as
Okay,
well.
but do you agree with the fundamental thing that she should not be spending money on glam?
Yes.
She looks beautiful, by the way. She's never looked better. She looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Everything is giving.
Yeah.
The whole the hair.
Yeah.
I'm in shock at how beautiful she looks.
Right.
But I think
she's very naturally pretty. I think
doesn't
she would
need
do
it.
just fine. She, like we said, rock and bod, that yoga's working for her. Take however many thousand you might be spending a week on glam and make a car payment. Mm-hmm. But more important.
If you think about it, though, the one thing that everybody's always like not really talking about, the elephant in the room, she gets paid for the show.
Yeah.
So she might view the glam as like, I got to make sure I bring it this season because this is my only money coming in.
This is my livelihood, yeah.
Which Gina went the opposite route and was a train wreck. And because she was a train wreck, she kept coming back. You know what I mean? She
took a different path, but she's still here. I saw someone say her and Emily have been on 7 or 8 seasons.
Wow.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. They seem so new to me.
If you ask me, I would say 5 tops.
Yeah. But it's just because they haven't gelled really. Like,
yeah. They've been a little duo, but they haven't
not
integrated
the group.
as much. Yeah.
I just think about Teddy Mellencamp. Have you heard this? That Teddy fully thinks she got booted off of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because she didn't look pretty enough and she didn't dress well enough for the show.
Really?
Like, everyone calls her boring, but she felt like boring was cover story for the real subtext, which is like she wasn't rich enough to be on the show and like didn't show up in the way that was like beautiful, in a way that producers and editors wanted to feature her.
I raised Eugenia for 3 or 4 seasons, Teddy. I mean, Teddy had the beautiful house.
Yeah.
Good-looking husband.
Yeah.
I mean, the name. She's John Mellencamp's daughter. So whatever. She can try to blame that. She just doesn't want to admit it was her personality.
Her boring personality. Yeah, I agree. Well, Jen's got a boring ass personality too, but thank God she's she's getting engaged to Ryan because he
will bring the drama. I mean, she's up so much in my mind secured season 3 for herself.
Oh, yeah, she's
with
already
this trial with him and the engagement and the cluster that's going to come from it. So I think we'll be seeing her next season again.
Anything else on Real Housewives of Orange County?
No, I don't even remember the previews, but I'm looking forward to whatever.
It's a giving season, and I can't tell exactly what is so. I do think Jen's a mess.
Yeah.
And then Alexis and Shannon. It's like you need the 2 pods of drama.
Yeah.
Because if you just have one, it's draining.
It's interesting, like you said, we're barely getting anything from Tamra and Heather. The 2 almost like OGs in a way.
Well, Tamra will bring it. She'll figure out a way, you know.
Of course she will. Even if she manufactures it.
Yeah, she hasn't landed her storyline yet. She probably knows that.
Yeah.
So she's trying to...
It can't be that she lives part-time in Big Bear. Like, how many times did she talk about her Big Bear house?
Like, we're seeing a lot of Tamara's life. I'm like, we don't need to see Tamara's life. She brings enough. We don't need to see the background of, like, the kid playing the snow. It's like, this is boring. This is season 3. This is Real Housewives of Dubai. This is not OC. Like, edit that out.
Agree.
Speaking of Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
You want to go there next?
Yes.
We start with Ion Beauty. So Chanel Ion is launching her beauty line.
Yes, we finally have clarified. It is a beauty
fashion show. Yes, right? It's the fashion.
Well, it's beauty, but then she does a fashion show with the models wearing the makeup.
So first of all, that should have been clarified.
Yep, the women were discussing that, going, no, it's not the clothing, right? Like, and it's like, and then the producers were like, Ion Beauty, Ion, like showing the eyeshadow, the lips, the eyelashes.
I think there's a different way to display the makeup. I don't know how I'm not in the industry. I don't know how it's done, but I think you should have done something different.
Yeah.
Also, there seemed like there's like 5 or less looks. And so the fact that Lisa and who's the other one that showed up late?
Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks.
Yeah.
They showed up late, but I'm like, didn't it only last for like 7 minutes?
Exactly. They didn't miss much.
Like, I think we filmed the entire fashion show. I don't think they edited it out.
Right. They didn't have to cut anything out.
It was so weird. And then her son, Taj, being a model.
Yes.
That's straight up nepotism. He should not be a model.
Yeah.
Let me be really clear. Chanel Ayan, beautiful.
Yeah.
Even at 40, looks 20.
Or however old she is.
Yeah, 80. Even at 80, she looks 20. Bone structure, everything is killing it. Yes. But Taj, her son, is not a model.
Not exactly that. Who knows what Burberry was looking for, but allegedly he's shot with Burberry, so I'll wait to see that ad campaign.
So they I think they have a sit down after the fashion show, and Talene and Brooks kind of like kick off a little bit. Like Talene is sending her voice notes and Brooks is apologizing. Yeah. To me, it's like, it's very confusing to know where they both stand with each other, but we know later on that they're horribly mad.
You can tell that this little apologizing is so fake because it lasts all of like a day,
right?
Till the next time they're together and it just falls apart again. Did you catch, but like at the launch party, the most like housewife moment ever? So Ayan's like, I think it was in a confessional maybe, or it was just at the end of the show, but she's like, such a relief. It went well. Now we just have to get the website ready. I was like,
yeah,
your website isn't up and you did a launch party.
Well, Jessica, I was
order of events.
You know what it was? It was the launch for the season. Yeah. You got to get it on the season.
Yes. Yeah.
We've seen that so many times.
We'll worry about that little software developer issue.
We'll worry about setting up the business later. We'll just do the product right now.
But I Googled it. The website functions.
It's up.
As far as I could tell, I didn't try to buy anything, but it's up. Reasonable price point. Like an eyeshadow palette was $25 or $26. So
okay.
not
Did it look good?
No. I can't remember what, I mean, I don't wear a lot of makeup myself, but it reminded me of a brand you'd see like at Target.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not high end,
right?
I'm sure.
Well, just how fast she did it, right? Like, I feel like she had the idea for it, and then here we are, like 8 weeks later, and she's launching it.
Right. So we'll see how long that lasts. Again, can't wait to see the numbers on that business in another year or two.
So I want to go to a storyline that's so kind of weird to me, but also like intriguing because we never hear about this. Brooks and the beggar comment to Talene.
Yeah.
So this is like, I feel like this always happens in Housewives. Like there's somebody who's always trying to get on the show.
Yes.
Saba, clearly trying to get on the show.
Right.
Vicky has been openly trying to get on the show. You know, people are trying to get either on the show or back on the show. And I feel like this whole idea that Talene begged Brooks to bring her to these stuff is like you're breaking housewife holy matrimony to talk about the fact that you were begging, because I think everyone begs.
Right.
I think Katie probably figured out a way to beg in Real Housewives of OC. So the fact that Brooks is throwing that back in Talene's face is like, I think kind of horrible, because how else do you get on the show? Jessica, if you were filming Real Housewives, I'd be like, bring me to that event, bitch.
100%.
I'm like, why was I not invited to that event?
Yeah.
Like I must.
So then like calling your friend desperate for trying to do that, it's like you're already on the show. At one point you were desperate to be on it too. Yeah, I know. I hate that. Well, as we've discussed, we're both team Talene. So I'm just annoyed by whatever Brooks does. But I was thinking this Talene, well, I'm getting a little ahead, but like the fight at Stanberry's party that we witnessed.
Yeah.
Talene and Brooks are going to go solo.
Yeah.
They are going to air out each other's, and I was just like, oh, we're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Because these two aren't going to hold back.
Well, you heard
these friends of a long time.
Talene was saying Brooks like wore her clothes all first season, which that's douchey. But again, Jessica, if I was on TV and like you had like designer amazing clothes, I'd be like, give me them.
But can we also, until this season, Brooks lost a lot of weight. I don't think she was fitting in Talene's clothes last season. Right. No offense. I mean, Talene is tiny.
Her body.
So when she said that, I was like, okay, maybe she was borrowing like a designer purse of yours or something. But yeah, that was juicy and a real dig. Like, you needed my wardrobe to get on the show.
Yeah, and all the other ladies are just watching it in awe, because I think it's just like everyone's like, wow, they're supposed to be such good friends.
Yeah, they're going low.
And Talene has clearly switched to Caroline Stanberry so obviously. It's just, it's kind of disgusting.
It
is. The kiss ass.
I understand the animosity Brooks is feeling because she feels completely duped and just pushed to the side. So I understand, but I'm still team Talene.
Can I talk about one thing? It's very small, but Chanel Ayan, she goes to this like weird beach dinner with her brother and sister.
Her little picnic.
She's walking. First of all, why did she not pay someone to set up her wagon?
The wagon, yes.
In her
8-inch platform.
On the sand. I mean, that wasn't even Chanel Ayan funny, where she shows up to the... It was just like, stupid. Chanel... Pay someone $80. Where's your assistant?
Someone was already paid to get the umbrella in and the pillows out and the table. Why is she bringing the meats?
Where's your husband? Where's your son?
Why is it your brother bringing this?
Your makeup artist, a la Shannon Benor. Like, just get someone. I was so like, this is like lowbrow to a point where I'm not loving this.
Yep. No, I know. I was like, she had the money to set up the little umbrella, but it was BYO food, and she took advantage of saving some money.
Like, it was just too lowbrow. Let's see. So we end this episode. We've already talked about this at Caroline Stanberry's house renewal.
House warming.
Excuse me. Yes. So she definitely lives, Jessica, in that complex that you were talking about. It's called The Nest. Yep. It's like a fabulous apartment complex.
Yes.
Now, of course, it's way more expensive than anything I could afford, so I don't mean that like derogatory, but it is an apartment complex in Dubai.
Yep.
It's not a house. And then...
I do think the other women because Stanbury does probably have the most money of everyone, no one will kind of dig at her. But I'm like, I need someone to give me the real on what this is like. You know how like Sarah made the comment that Talene lives in the spot where expats like to be flashy. Like she made like, I wouldn't want to live in the Palms.
Right.
I need someone to do that with Stanbury's complex because I need to know what the stereotype of it is, but no one I think wants to diss it.
Right. I think it's because when I went to Dubai, that development was being built. So it's a brand new development. I've looked online. I think it's $2 to $4 million to get one of those like nest houses.
Right.
I'm sure Stanbury's in the biggest. I'm sure it's closer to 4 to 5.
Right.
She's probably custom fixtures. You know, it's probably legit, but it is apartment complex.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a high-end Dubai apartment complex. Anyway, so one of the things that I wanted to say to you is that, so Stanbury, the big juicy gossip that was a little like record scratch was that people were saying that drunkenly Michael was paying for stuff.
Yes. That Michael is her sugar daddy. And I was like, what does a gay man get out of being a sugar daddy?
Well, I Googled this. I think it's super fake. I think what he meant was, I went down a Reddit rabbit hole. I think what he meant was that while she's lived with him, he's paid for everything.
Okay.
Which it's like, for the refrigerator to be stocked, I would expect him to kind of do that, you know?
Yeah.
Stanbury's family is richer than rich.
Yeah.
It's not her husband. It's her legacy, her family. I read something online that it's called like the Vestry family tree or whatever, just because the way this author put it was, you know, when you have a lot of money in your bank and you live off the interest of that money, they live off the interest of their money. God. That's how wealthy they are.
Yeah.
So Michael, this is all just nonsense.
That's
I'm sure he was like, Caroline Stanbury, you're so rich. Why am I paying for like stocking the fridge?
Yes.
For you.
I bet he made a little snarky comment and Brooks and everyone else was like running with it like, he pays for stuff for Caroline.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one thing. So I went to a college that there was like a lot of wealthy kids, like over the top wealthy.
Yeah.
There is something that super wealthy people have, which is they forget that they have to pay. Like my brother had this girlfriend who would get out of a taxi and like not ever pay for it or chip in. And it wasn't because she was like trying to be rude. She just didn't realize that was the moment. Yeah. Like she didn't have that muscle memory.
Private chauffeur that just dropped you, so you do have
would, like,
to
slip her mind.
Settle up.
Right. So I could see Caroline Stanbury like going into that house of Michael's and just expecting that like, the grocery store, the fridge is stocked with my, very expensive waters.
Right. And never thinking to be like, can I chip in for your house cleaner while I'm here making a big mess in your house.
Room. Exactly. Yeah. That's my take on it. I mean,
very possible.
It could be wrong, but one other small thing at Caroline's party, I mean, they have the huge blowout there, but actually a couple of small things. One is it boiled my blood when Brooks brought her +1 and Caroline Stanbury handles it pretty good. She's like, you can't do this to me.
I am having a seated dinner. I love how Caroline had no trouble saying all of this in front of said +1 who's standing there just like, can I be here for dinner?
Again, Stanbury called it out. It's like, it seems like it's a nail tech. It seems like it's a beautician.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
she's like, it's for your nail girl.
It's full on Shannon Bedore bringing the makeup artist.
Yes. Yeah. That and the frickin' sage.
Oh, yeah, that was ridiculous.
If you come into my brand new household with a lit thing, the smell of it, I'm like sometimes just like sensitive. I guess sage is probably pretty neutral, but whatever. Like I can get a headache easily if I like the scent. Dripping ash.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, Caroline Brooks thinks she's so fucking funny doing this. And I agree. Even like Sergio was like, tell her to get that out of here. I was like, I
think she thought it would be iconic, and it wasn't.
And how rude to sage someone's home means like to get bad energy out. So you're saying Caroline is the bad energy. It's a brand new house. There aren't ghosts there.
The last thing, small thing that I thought was irritating is that Stanbury stands up and says the toast. Like that should have been Sergio. I'm sorry, that should have. If you have any ounce of like trying to get him into a role that he feels comfortable with, you should have let him do that.
She'll never though. Like she wears the pants
and the money, financial pants.
So firmly.
Yeah. And then he kind of like makes a spectacle about like, no, you be quiet now while I talk.
I know that was, I didn't like their little.
She should have at least stood up and said, we appreciate you coming to our house. You said my house.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Yeah. No, I didn't like that. That is where married couples should use the royal we for each other. Fully agree. I felt bad for him there. Like, she's like, let me just remind everyone yet again that I paid for this house.
Yeah.
What did you think, though, about Talene's husband in the fight getting a little involved with Brooks?
It's like rule number one. Cardinal rule, you don't get involved.
Yeah.
But there's two things. One, if you're addressed, you get to talk back.
Yeah.
So Brooks was being sassy with him, so he got to talk back.
Yeah.
But then there was a second part in the fight where he started standing up for Talene in a way that Talene was like just behind him and like kind of
taking over the fight.
Like silently letting him do that. And then Talene says, "Where's your husband?" to Brooks. That's the part that's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this is the Real Housewives of Dubai. It's not the real husbands.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go to a woman.
We don't even know your husband. Like, you guys are brand
Brooks
new.
is divorced. Clearly, it was a bad relationship. Like, don't act like you're holier than because your husband is fighting your battle for you.
Yeah.
Like, that was my take. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was like, ooh, don't get involved. And I get it, again, because they've been friends so long. He's like, man, I know Caroline Brooks. Like, I'm sure it bothers him to see her fighting with his wife. But yeah, these men just need to know that they think they're going to look really good defending their wife, and it backfires every time.
Like, you know, when Caroline Brooks is sitting there and he hears her and he says something like, then you should clarify to her. He's like kind of yelling it to her. I think that's fair. I think that's okay to make a snarky comment.
Right.
But it's I'm yelling at you and also having a one-on-one yell with you while my wife stands behind me as I like protect her, and you have no man or friend even near you. Like,
where's your nail tech now?
Yeah, call that. Where'd that girl go?
She needs to back you up. Make sure your nails are still intact during this fight.
Okay, anything else on Real Housewives of Dubai?
No, but yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see how low the Talene and Brooks
saga goes.
Fight is gonna go.
And then it seems like Ayan and Lisa also
that's coming
have
soon.
a big falling out.
Like you said, we need two pockets. We're gonna get two pockets of drama. It's coming.
Okay, so our last show that we're gonna talk about is Below Deck Med.
Yes.
So we start again with the anchor issue, which is, it's like they're counting down the fact that the guests are going to basically miss their flight. I would be so pissed. The guests are actually handling it pretty well.
I know, and it was Trishelle who was going to miss her flight to Paris. This one was a little more fair that once they discussed it, they truly were like over 2 hours away or something from a port. But it was another situation of like when they had no provisions. Initially, I was like, can you stop acting like you're in the middle of fucking nowhere and you can't call?
Right.
If you had called a water taxi 30 minutes ago, the guests would probably be. But I was like, okay, they are 2 hours away from the port they needed. So it was a little more fair. And I was like, I think they full on missed their flight.
And then that tender thing, like they couldn't ride the tender in because the waves were too high.
Yeah, like I think that boat is too small to go that many hours. And imagine like 8 people on that tender. It is meant to just take you to shore and back out to where your boat is docked. Yeah. We watched that anchor fall to the bottom of the seabed. When they talked about the cost to retrieve it, hook it back up, but it was still, I looked at like when they shared the math, it was still $20,000 cheaper than just losing the anchor and putting a new one in.
Oh, so
because I said, how much does the scuba team cost?
Right.
The thing they hauled it all coiled up.
Yeah,
the team just put it back on your boat and
who pays for that? Do you think it's the owner of the boat?
I know.
That Sandy's just like, get rid of the anchor, and the owner of the boat is probably like, what happened?
Yeah.
You did what?
Sandy's like, just a little thing I need to run through with you. Your anchor's at the bottom of the bay.
It seems like this is where we start to see that Ian likes Ellie. Like, he starts to reveal it in his confessional. How did we miss? I mean, nobody caught on that he liked her this much.
I mean, it's so, you're just dying inside when he is saying, I think she I think it's reciprocated. And then cut to her. And it's like, does Ian have a shot? And she's like, no. Just the way I would like to think, for the most part in my life, I have never been that far off in thinking I had a shot with someone that was like, absolutely not. Like, oh my God, like, let's not claim. There have totally been guys where you're like, oh my God, it's so odd. But I'm like, not a chance. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I have never thought he was into me.
Or you test a little and then you read it. And if the read comes back as negative, you just abort the mission. Ian, he thinks her, like, just responding to him, like, just literally having a conversation is encouraging him. And then they go out and he's like playing with her hair in the van and like,
did you see he blew on her hair and she didn't know he had done it? So she kind of did almost like a dog when you blow on it, and they're like, what was that? And he goes, it's a little breezy in here.
Oh my God, I missed that.
Vince and I were dying.
He's a crazy.
I was curling into a ball because I was so uncomfortable, like secondhand embarrassment for him. And I do think he was quite drunk on that night out.
Yeah. Again, Ian and Sandy are just not killing it.
Yeah.
Sandy's like, you should have run that by me. I don't agree with Joe. I don't know. I think Sandy's like, it's a little too particular. Considering this is the third charter and she's asking who the lead deckhand is, it's like, it seems like you've gotten by this far without really clarifying who the lead deck is. And is like, is this just a formality for the show?
I know.
Just a way to yell at Ian. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. I think also naming a lead deckhand is just another opportunity for drama when two different deckhands think they're up for it. It's always someone doesn't agree with who was picked.
Right.
So, yeah, it just seems, because I remember there was a different season, and it was a girl was picked, and this one guy was really ticked off about it, being like, I have more experience and blah, blah. And she just kind of, like, exploded on him, and she was like, it is purely a title. I don't get paid more. So, like, I was like, oh, good. I wondered if they got a pay bump.
Right.
So it is purely a title, but obviously it's the same where, at least now, if on your resume you can say I was lead deckhand on my last whatever meter boat.
Yeah, you're right.
It helps you move up.
Yeah.
But they don't make more money with that title. Because I did feel like they were very willy-nilly, like how they picked.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it's a true promotion, it needs to be a little more.
Speaking of Joe, he's got Bree and is his name Joe?
Yes.
Joe. He's got Bree and he's got Ellie. And during their night out, Aisha goes up to him and is like, can you just lay off the girls?
Can you leave the girls alone tonight? Yeah.
Which leaves both of them feeling like, what did I do wrong, you know?
Right.
And Jessica, I started to wonder in my own life if somebody's ever done that where...
That's why that guy wasn't hitting on me. Because someone told him to leave me alone.
But Jessica, think about it. Those girls will never know that was the reason until they watch the show, and then they're gonna go like. Then Ellie's gonna go like, "Oh my God, that's why my lace outfit."
Did like my lace jumpsuit.
That's why my lace outfit didn't work.
That's so funny.
Okay, and then we have Gail and Nathan. So again, they're getting. First of all, if I watch Gail, even if she doesn't kiss him, I would. Well, she did kiss him finally.
Yes.
But even if she doesn't kiss him, I would say this is cheating.
Yes.
Standing at the bar, wrapping yourself around him
100%
is cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and then she kind of says at some point to Jono, the cook, later on, like, well, I feel like I'm trying so hard with my current boyfriend. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, are you? Unclear. I agree. I mean, I think in her mind, she keeps thinking, I'm going to salvage this, and yes, my boyfriend's going to see this, and yeah, she like thinks what she's doing isn't crossing a line. If it was role reversed and I was watching that and my boyfriend was doing that with another girl on the boat, I'd be like, oh, we're done.
Well, I think back, did we think that was okay when we were younger? Like now it would be so clear to me, like,
right.
Even if my husband was like texting another girl, I'd be like, who's that?
Skirt.
Yeah. But like back then we think like, well, if they didn't kiss.
That's true.
I don't know.
Maybe it is an age thing.
It seems off. Either way. Seems massively off. Okay, so we're going to move to, what are the kids talking about these days?
Yes. So, a quick one, which made me laugh because I understand and use these, but Gen Z are coming. It's for an emoji. Which one do you think they're now going to make fun of?
They don't like?
Yeah, they don't like. They think it's passive aggressive.
I don't know.
The thumbs up.
Oh my God.
So we all know that's now like a option into thumbs up a message. You don't even have to send the emoji on its own. But people are talking about it in a work setting, like on Slack or whatever. And I am completely of the mindset that the older generation is too. It's actually perfect in work. If someone sends you a message, can you work on XYZ? Thumbs upping it, you're acknowledging it. Yup, I'm on it. I agree. I probably don't thumbs up and then say nothing else. I usually then go, got it. Like it's a kind of in addition to acknowledging, but they're saying that it's extremely passive aggressive and it makes them feel unsettled.
I love the thumbs up, and I love it because you don't have to say anything.
Right.
You don't have to say like, and can you get it by next Tuesday, or could I also have that?
Yeah.
You just go like, great, conversation over, thumbs that.
Yeah. And the Gen Zers are saying that they use the heart, and everyone's going,
oh my
that's
God.
inappropriate for work.
Some guy once used the heart with me, and I was creeped out by it. I remember to this day. It was totally fine. He was trying to be friendly or whatever, but he hearted something, and I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, why? You purposefully used the heart instead of the thumbs up.
Right.
You went over the emojis and you said, I'm going to use the heart.
The thumbs up was an option, and you kept scrolling to the
I feel like thumbs up is professional. Heart is weird.
Yeah, heart. And that's the thing. There's obviously different levels of coworker. I would not think twice if a girl coworker of mine that I'm pretty friendly and knows stuff about my life, not gonna bat an eye if a heart comes in. Say 2 levels above me man at work that I have never spoken to, and we're messaging about some random thing, heart something, yeah.
That's weird.
I'm calling the authorities.
It's HR worthy. Screenshot that. I would only heart things if somebody said, Lauren, I thought you did a really good job on blah, blah, blah.
Right, like a praise.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, like warms my heart.
It's not just
Thank
like,
you.
thanks, good, thumbs up. It's like,
Yes.
oh, that really appreciate it.
There is a time and a place.
But I
to
also
take
think-
away our thumbs up, it's no.
Do you think that men heart each other's?
I doubt it. I can say with almost 100% certainty Vince has never hearted
Like
someone's
Kunal's
Slack
like
message.
hearting people.
I
I would be jealous of that.
well,
I'd be like, what's that heart?
Our husbands definitely heart each other's texts
Right.
in our group thread, but they have a different relationship. I don't think they're hearting their coworkers.
Yeah, if I saw hearting going on, I'd
Yeah.
say, what is
Who
going
is she?
It's my boss. I'd be like, enough.
So yeah, I don't care. Still using it.
I don't have a Gen Z coworker that I work with, so
That's
I've not
true.
had to encounter any
That's
of this
true.
yet.
I don't work. There are definitely some at my company, but I don't
They're like
closely
intern.
work with any.
Yeah.
So thumbs up in my way through the day.
Until further
So you can
notice.
shove it.
How about that? Okay, so I have 2 conspiracy theories.
Can we talk about how one of yours completely came
Came true.
We
Yes.
timestamped it.
Which people are not giving it that much love, which I'm like so irritated by. So for those that are listening, the conspiracy theory that came true was that Kamala was going to be VP.
Yeah.
Now maybe
No,
everyone just
was going to run.
I'm sorry, it was
Yes.
going to be president. It would have to happen after the Republican convention, and they wanted to wait until that point to get through.
You literally spelled out exactly what was going to happen.
And people are like, it's not viral. No one cares. Anyway. So that was a pat on the back for moi, which is why everyone
You
should
know what?
listen.
That one, let's heart that one.
That one, get
We're
a
gonna
heart.
heart that one.
Not just a thumbs up, a heart.
That's a heart worthy.
All right, so the first one, one's kind of political adjacent, but the first is about Disney.
Oh.
Which Disney's weird, I think. I fully will go to Disney when I have a kid, but I do think
Really?
it's
I'm gonna.
It's
try to
really
avoid.
expensive.
I'm trying to avoid.
it's like $5,000 to get to all said and
Yes.
done once you're in that park.
No, thank you. I'd rather go to Europe. Okay, continue.
So influencers are saying that there's a variety of things that Disney does that are a little conspiracy but a little true, but just also to kind of manipulate you during the guest experience in the park.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So one thing is that when the lines are super long for a ride, they send a parade through to distort your perception of time.
Okay.
The second is this is less of a conspiracy theory and more just like something that they're doing. They paint a bunch of street lights and garbage cans like this green, and the green color is called go away green. And it means that like the green is engineered to like blend into things. So you don't actually see the unsightly things anymore. It just like blends into the background. They put, small vents on certain stores to pump out smells so that it kind of lures you in. And then they're also aware that when you walk into the park, 9 times out of 10 people walk to the right. So they put the cafes on the right walking into the park. And then when you walk out of the park, they're putting the gift shops.
The souvenirs and stuff.
So
the second you step in the park, you're like, I'm hungry. Look,
we need to get a beverage. Because they do serve alcohol, I think, at Disney now.
Oh, yes. I believe
they must make a killing on that.
I mean, each beer's got to be like $25.
That's where Lala realized that she needed to go get help after her weekend at Disney. Yes.
Wild weekend to have to reach rock bottom.
She was blackout in Disney World.
I can visualize why that would be rock bottom. You're looking around going, did I need to get this hammered?
At Disney World.
Yeah, like with her child. Or was it before her child? I don't think she'd had her daughter
It was with
yet,
Randall's kids.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then the second conspiracy theory is about Grindr. Does everyone know what that is?
Yes.
It's the app for gay men, right? Yes. Similar to Tinder, but Grindr. So, last week was the Republican convention in Milwaukee. Well, Grindr experienced an outage.
Oh, stop.
And so some of this is conspiracy theory. Some of this is actually just true. But it was due to a high increase in traffic.
Okay.
Specifically in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Interesting hotspot all of a sudden.
Conspiracy theorists are saying there's a major bump in anonymous users on Grindr, which means people who don't set up a profile aren't there for very long, but do the profile pic where you don't have a head and you don't have legs, you just have the torso.
Oh, yeah, so you can't, like, someone wouldn't screenshot it and go,
right,
that's Senator so-and-so.
Right. And so articles are saying that basically the Republican convention, and influencers saying this as well, is basically Grindr's Super Bowl. So it caused a huge surge in activity and therefore an outage, which actually affected other parts of the app. Now, Grindr is not admitting to any of this. Oh. They're acting as though, like similar to CrowdStrike, there was some shortage that they, experienced, and that's what caused it.
Yeah.
But this would be the first time that Grindr saw increased traffic in cities that are hosting the RNC. So the Republican National Convention, I don't think happened in 2020 because of COVID. Yeah. Or that happened in some shorthand way, more edited way.
Virtual, yeah.
In 2016, the Cleveland area saw a 66% increase in Grindr traffic when the convention was going on. So it's basically, the theory is that all these super conservative men who are probably closeted are getting on Grindr during the Republican National Convention and having a little night out on the town.
Little dalliance.
And it brought down the app.
Interesting. See, okay. First of all, yeah, sure, different strokes for different folks. Never would I meet up with someone that didn't have their head in the photo. Going to assume their face
up
is
to no
busted.
Well, Butterface, it's called.
Yeah. How am I going to know it's you? Like, I always hated that stepping into a place.
Yeah.
I was always like, oh my God, am I going to recognize him? Is he going to be like, Jessica? Like, hated that. So not having a face.
But just to clarify, Jessica was on Bumble or Hinge, not a Grindr.
Yes, sorry to clarify. Tinder a little bit here and there, but it mostly moved to Bumble and Hinge. So yeah, I hate that. But then also, don't the people that are trying to hide their identity, if they do want the hookup, they need to show their face, and they're then hoping that person just won't have receipts. They can still snap a photo of you and like out you potentially. So it's still a risk you're taking.
I think that they don't mind. I think that potentially there's a lot of people that are famous that you don't recognize in person.
Yeah, and they probably put a different name, so it like throws you off.
So if you're on Grindr as Congressman from Alabama, everyone's like, oh, I'm hooking up with the Congressman from Alabama. If you're on Grindr as torso, and then you show up and you change your name to John in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people, especially politicians, it's like,
Right. Oh, right.
would you even notice?
No. I mean, good Lord. I can pick out our
I can pick out
mayor.
one.
I'm J.B. Pritzker.
I know who Trump is.
Yeah.
Biden too.
That's so true. I would not know people in like
Right.
the Senate.
Like kind of lower level politicians.
Yeah.
Anyway. But so it's part conspiracy, part fact, because I think something did happen, but Grindr is not admitting that.
Because it looks bad on them that they had an outage.
And the Republican convention is like the closeted Grindr Super Bowl. They don't want to go down that route.
Right.
They don't want to be involved in that discussion.
Okay.
But interesting.
All
Who
right,
would have thought?
We'll check in 2028 wherever
Make a mental note.
wherever the RNC is.
All right, Jessica, great talking to you.